Andre, did you remove yourself? Did you remove yourself? Andre.
I am sure sports. You know me there, I'm coast to coast representing. I mean, I say this is righteous representing for Omar. You don't know, come get your sports over here from near and far. Boy. Me say I am sure sports, one thing me sure about. When me say sure, that me not doubt. Come get your sports, get it over here. Come subscribe, repost and share. I am sure sports, one thing me sure about. When me say sure, that me not doubt. Come get your sports, get it over here. Come subscribe, repost and share. If me not sure, that me not say it. Know who score, that me not say it. Never know the game play, that me not say it. If me never seen a game, me not know who play. For your sports news, better come over here so. For your soccer news, then come over here so. If you don't love sports, still come over here so. For the day done, you a go love over here so.
So when it comes on to behavior concerning football, Jamaica is decent. I am sure that if we can get all of these things done, set in place by the end of April, it gives us enough time before the World Cup campaign. Not afraid of no Brazil, no Argentina with these crap of players. We are good enough. Remember, like, subscribe, share. Listen, comment, let me know what your thoughts are.
Trick Jerk Marinade gives your meats and vegetables authentic Jamaican jerk flavor. The spices are directly from Jamaica. Spices like jerk seasoning, allspice, Scotch bonnet pepper, fresh scallions, thyme, ginger, and garlic. The key ingredients to a great jerk marinade. 0% sugar and low in sodium. You want to try it?
Made up of 18 Jamaican herbs and spices. Add delicious, bold flavor to your next grilling experience. Flavoring sauce, a marinade, basting, condiment, or topping. Trick Nick Jerk Barbecue Sauce.
Good evening, everyone. Well, I should say good night, by the way. Welcome. And thanks for joining I Am Sure Sports. I am Stan Kroenke, your guest host for the evening. Manning's Man is away on official duty, or cryptic duty, as I call it, because I have no idea where he is. But we have a special show for you this evening. And first of all, thanks for joining us. And I have to give a special shout out to Gunner's boss. I think he's been here since about 12 o'clock today. At least that's when I saw his post talking about this is the place to be. So Gunner's boss, blessed up to you, my friend. And thanks for joining us. And thanks everyone for being here. Before I start today's show though, and you see the headline, which is a special guest. And I have a special co-host who I'm going to bring in because I have to give him a hard time. Mr. Andre. How are you doing, Andre? And before we start, Andre, before you even say anything, my back is heavy, Andre. I'm feeling a lot of pressure because I was watching some elements of the World Championship today. Jamaica won 5 medals, and I didn't see a Trinidadian. I'm tired of carrying you, Andre. You guys need to step up to the plate, Andre. What is happening? Step up to the plate. Come on, Andre. Come on. You got to do better than that.
Good afternoon, sir.
I'm being cataract today.
Yeah. I was just going to say that. A flavor of cataract. But you're right. We are falling off. We are behind, and we have a lot of catching up to do. So in the meantime, I will do my best to see how I could contribute to that, but I'd also support and enjoy Jamaica's success at the moment.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah,
I'm glad you're part of the team
yeah,
and hitching
yeah.
your wagon
I'm
to us.
part of
Your
the
wagon
team.
is for the time being.
Yeah,
But this is
yeah.
not about by the way, I want to big up all the medalists. So Pinnock won silver in the long jump. Gay won bronze in the long jump. Antonio Watson did an awesome job in the 400, flat 400. Daniel Williams, who no one expected to, won the 100 meters hurdles. And Russell Clayton came third in the 400 hurdles. So big up to all those athletes. And we had Shelly and Sharika, who won both bronze and silver, respectively, in the 100 meters. So Jamaica doing well. But we're here to talk about football, or they say in the US, soccer. So we have a soccer player with us, and we have, I'm going to introduce our guest this evening. We have the great pleasure of introducing one of the future stars, or if not already star, of the Reggae Girls, who was in Australia with us, Andre. So, Andre, why don't you do the introduction, since you're much more familiar with the young lady than I am?
Well, tonight, fans, people in the comment section, people watching, we have with us tonight Reggae Girls Solai Washington. She one of the youngest players to have played in the last World Cup. She's one of the 3 players in the squad that I believe is under 20 years of age. So I think this experience must have been a great one for her, and I'm sure the public is waiting to hear a little bit about what it was like. So let's introduce Solai to the stream and begin our conversation. Solai, good night. How you doing?
Hello, it's nice to see you guys. I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing good. Doing good. Couldn't be better, actually.
Thank you for having me.
I want to thank you for taking the time. I know this is a busy time for you. Just getting back from the World Cup, back into the club game, I'm sure. School has started up, so I know it's a busy time, and it's late in the evening. So I really appreciate you making the time to talk to us this afternoon.
Yes, of course. I'm happy to.
Wonderful, wonderful. So where do we start?
Well, I think we probably should do this chronologically. So, Solly, so take us through your journey. You're still very, very young, even though you've been to the World Cup, so you're so much seasoned. So, talk us through your journey, early years, where you were born, where you went to school, brothers and sisters, how you got introduced to, I want to say football, I'll say soccer, since you're in the US, things of that nature. Just sort of historically and chronologically, your life so far.
So I've grown up in Atlanta, Georgia my whole life, born here, born and raised. I started playing soccer when I was 3, so I was pretty young. And the reason I started playing was because my older sister, Giselle Washington, who was previously on the Reggae Girls team, was also playing soccer. And I just, of course, when I'm super young, wanted to follow in my older sister's footsteps. And my parents never played soccer, so it was kind of a foreign sport to them. But then somehow all of my siblings ended up playing. I have a younger sister and a younger brother as well, who are both very into soccer, very good soccer players. Everyone is on, elite teams right now. And so I grew up in Brookhaven, Atlanta, and went to school at Chamblee Middle, and I'm now attending Chamblee High School and, on my way to Duke University.
Well, I must say, I do like Atlanta. I was there for 2 weeks in July in Sewanee and a number of different places. So great place to be, actually.
Yes.
And a very growing metropolis, actually. Significant population increase there. So you talked about, seems like your family is now into football. How do you qualify to play for Jamaica?
My mother is Jamaican. She was born and raised in Kingston. And so that's how we get our Jamaican stripes and are able to play for the Jamaican national team.
Why Jamaica versus, say, trying to make the U.S. team, for example?
Well, I tried my first camp with Jamaica in January, and that's really when, for me, it was almost like a deciding factor in terms of the Jamaican culture, the family that the team was, how the coaches were so individual, and like they would help the team, of course, but if you need something, go and ask. And they're very personal, and saw a lot of my potential, and I felt that they believed in me, and those were very like motivating factors for me wanting to play with Jamaica and instead of with the U.S.
Was that a junior team or the senior team?
It was a senior team. That was my first camp.
How did the senior team learn of you and your capabilities?
Well, I mean, they kind of knew of me through my older sister. And so my name was, in the conversation a little bit, but then I actually started playing with them in February when I went to Australia. That's when I had my first cap with the team. And I think that's when I started to really, start to gel with the team, and everyone started to understand how I play. I was able to understand how they play, and we were able to become, closer on and off the field.
So you mentioned Duke University, which is a very prestigious university. Mm-hmm. So that means you must have great academic standards. Actually, you must have done really well in school to be going to Duke, because the SATs and the requirements, they are very stringent.
Yes, they are. Duke is, like you said, very prestigious school, but I mean, it's something that'll be challenging, and I'm not afraid of a challenge. I'd like to be able to push myself, whether that's on the field or off the field. When it comes to my studies, it's something that has been very important to me and my family. My parents have instilled like academics very strongly since we were very young. And so I think that's carried into my now years. And now that's something that I also put at a very high value.
So I know if you're a soccer player and you're really, really good, you're pursued by various colleges. Why Duke versus another school?
I had a few schools in mind, but when I went to the Duke campus for my official visit was when I fell in love with the school. I knew that I wanted a school that was pretty academically prestigious, was pretty hard on you, but also good athletically, because I wanted to be able to continue my development and able to go pro. And so I think when I was able to actually get on the campus and talk in person to Coach Robbie and all of his supporting staff, that's when I really was able to find, how great of a connection they have with their players, how good the players were in general, and how nice they were to me. Everyone was like a family, and it kind of replicated a little bit of what I fell in love with the Jamaican team. And so, like, I guess family culture on and off the field have been like really important to me, and I saw that at Duke, and that's what made me pursue it.
Andre?
Yes, thank you, Cronky. So Solai, I think I want to back up a little bit. Cronky talk about Duke and ask you about the Jamaican national team, but I think there's a gap in between there. You say you started playing at 3, mm-hmm. and at 3 years old. And what gave you the confidence to believe at your age that you can go and make the Jamaican national team? What was your development process like?
Yes, so I started playing, like I said, at recreationally when I was very young, 3, and then I moved up to play at my current club team. I've been with the same club my whole life. So I started playing with Concord Fire when I was 6 years old, and I was playing 2 years up. So I was playing against the 8-year-olds, which was, I think a little bit of a push factor for me. It helped to, make me stronger, make me mentally stronger, even though I was so young. And I think, I was born with a ton of competitiveness, and that comes with my siblings, with my teammates, with my opponents, like a great amount of competitiveness. And so I think that's been a really big push factor throughout my career. And so I've just been training at Concord since, like I said, when I was really young, when I was 6, and I've been playing up pretty much my whole entire life. And so coming into playing with the Jamaican national team, I of course I haven't been playing against as old girls as I would be with them, but I have been playing against older girls my whole entire life. And so in a sense, age has just become a number, I guess you would say. Like, it doesn't matter as much to me. I don't go on the field and think I'm so much younger than these girls. I go on and think like I'm supposed to be here. I earned my way to get here. And so I'm just going to compete to my best abilities and put up the best fight I have to give Jamaica our best foot forward.
So, you won a national championship with your club
Yes, I did.
last season, and congratulations for that. That's a major achievement. It's not easy. As a coach myself, and having gone into those spaces, is a very difficult tournament to win. So congratulations on that. Last season, you scored 40 something goals.
Yes.
I think it was 47 goals.
Yes.
You scored 41 in the league in 15 games, and you scored 6 in tournament play. That's a lot of goals.
You sure you're playing soccer and not a sport? You sure
Tell us about a little bit about your team and how you able to score that much goals, because your team playing the highest level of women's football in the US here. So tell us a little bit about that.
Well, to start, I mean, Coach Garvin Kwamina, he's been amazing. He's done a lot of individual work with me. He's helped perfect my shooting and get it to, keep getting better as we go through. But I credit a lot of my development to him. He's been great. And with the team as a whole, that group was just so close knit and so tight. We'd been playing together for a while before then. We had gotten out in the quarterfinals, I think, the last season. So we came back with a lot of hunger and were very fierce. We knew what we wanted going into the season. And so, I mean, playing with such a great, supporting system, my teammates all giving it their 100%, it makes the goal scoring just, a cherry on top of the cake. And so I really credit a lot of it to Coach Garvin. He pushed us even when, we weren't doing too good, anything like that. He did not, lose any hope or anything like that. And I think that also pushed the team. So, yeah.
Yeah, I've heard a little bit about this Coach Garvin. Maybe I try to get him on sometime. But he's done a great job. Let me ask you, you're still a young player. You're still young in your career. You've had this wonderful experience of playing at the World Cup. But what type of mentality, if you able to describe it, that allows you to score so many goals? What is your thought process?
Well, for me, as soon as I score a goal, I celebrate with my team, and then it's out of my mind. So I don't go the next few minutes thinking, okay, I have one goal under my belt, because that's just gonna, help you lose momentum and everything like that. So I score my goal and it's out of my mind. I don't think about it and I'm going for the next one. And I've never really, I guess you could say, like, completely satisfied. I mean, I know when I give it my all on the field. So if that means I've scored 2 goals, if that means I had some assists, it's more about, my effort. And if I can tell when I'm giving it my all. I can tell when I think that I'm playing my best. And so the goal scoring is just something that, I mean, of course, it's great. It's great to celebrate with your team. It's great to put some in the back of the net for your team. But as soon as that's done, then you just move on. The game keeps going, and that goal isn't going to last forever. And you need to, keep scoring, keep your team ahead. So
before I go back to Cronky, you mentioned just now that you had your debut in Australia earlier this year. I think it was in February in the Cup of Nations tournament.
Yes.
And I'm sure that was a great experience. But before you tell us about what that was like for you, as someone who have 2 kids that play and represent the country of my birth, I must mention Mr. and Mrs. Washington and ask you what that moment was like for them.
It was, I mean, amazing. Of course, my mom was just so proud to see me representing, where she's from and everything like that, and wearing the Jamaican colors. My parents have been my backbone through this whole entire thing, and they've taught me so many lessons. They've instilled a lot of confidence. They've also been hard on me when I need it and everything like that. And so I wouldn't be here without them. And I, of course, show my gratitude towards them. And I mean, they were almost in tears watching me. So it's just great. Yeah, it was amazing.
Did the tears come when the national anthem started to play?
I think so. I think so.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
know that's a beautiful moment for them, and I'm
Mhm.
sure they were very proud of you. Cranky?
Before we go to the World Cup, which we'll get to, what do you think are your best attributes as a forward?
As a forward, I think my best attributes, I mean, my favorite one is going 1v1. I think that my 1v1 abilities is what sets me apart from my competition, even if it's on the national level, and like my confidence to be able to, take players on, take them side to side. I also think my speed is, complements that ability. So, I mean, with speed and able to go side to side, I think those are what makes me as dangerous of a player as I can be.
What part of your game do you still need to develop?
I still want to. When it comes to playing with the national team, I still do think that I can build more chemistry with the team. I think that there are runs that I should be making when I watch film back. I think, oh, I could be making that run. So I think just having a quicker mind, being able to adjust from my local, level, the speed of play at the local level to the national level has been like a bit challenging, and I think that the hardest thing that I've had going into it is, adjusting to that and being able to make quicker movements. And so I think those are some things that I could be improving on.
So, three-part question, but easy answers. One is, what's your favorite soccer team? Who is your favorite female player and favorite male player?
Okay. My favorite soccer team does change. I will say that. I'm not someone I'm too indecisive.
Start with the alphabet. Start with the top of the alphabet, and you'll be okay.
It changes day by day. Right now this kind of correlates with my favorite female player, but I love Chelsea, and my favorite female player is Sam Kerr, which is not really a shock. I've been like fangirling over her for forever. I have her jersey hung up in my room. Like she's definitely my favorite soccer player. And for the men's side, it would probably be Mbappe. I think I really love. I mean, I see a lot of myself in terms of like he has a lot of speed. He takes players on, and he's very confident on the ball. And so those are things that I try to pride myself on as well as improve on. So I think I love watching him to, improve my game.
Solai, I did mention you should start at the top of the alphabet, not two steps down. So anyway, I'm an Arsenal fan. That's why I said
knew you were going to say that.
Arsenal.
Sometimes I wonder if he's an Arsenal fan.
Well, we won't get into that. We won't get into that today. We're not amongst friends in terms of the teams that we support. So Andre touched upon the World Cup. Mm-hmm. How does it feel to have participated in the World Cup at such a young age?
It was surreal. I remember just getting the call that, I made it, and I was with my dad. We were actually at Nationals this year when I got the call in California, and we were just ecstatic, shocked, but like ecstatic. And I mean, it just was such a rewarding experience in terms of like, I've been putting in so much work behind the scenes and everything like that. So it's just great to be able to showcase that on the world's biggest stage. And I mean, of course, it was nerve-wracking, but I really focused on trying to enjoy every single moment and just make the best out of any situation. If I lose the ball, then work to get it back, everything like that. The stands, the crowds were crazy. I've never played in front of such like energetic fans. I usually am playing against or in front of like my friends and family, and now I'm playing against or in front of 40,000 people. So it was like surreal. It was amazing. The team got so close. I mean, we were together for like a month, a little over a month, and I mean they were all basically my older sisters. So it was amazing.
So I want to do this chronologically, but I have to continue that trend we just talked about, which is, so you played in the World Cup and you come back home to your teammates who played locally. What's that like?
It's great. They've been my friends before the World Cup. They're still my best friends after. And playing with club, it's fun. It's different than, of course, nationally, but it's been fun. And of course, I love to play with Garvin. So playing with Coach Garvin has been amazing, and I will never, have a coach like him.
Interesting. Can you share your most memorable moment or experience from the tournament?
It would probably be my debut against France. That's the game where we had the biggest crowd. That's the game where, of course, everyone was doubting us. People thought France were going to win that game, and we weren't going to be able to get a result out of that game. And so I went in and I played about 25 minutes. And I mean, I just I remember being super nervous before, and then I got my first touch on the ball and everything disappeared. It was basically just me, my team, and the ball. That was all I cared about, and I just blacked out and just focused. And I think that was the most amazing experience. And then I was able to FaceTime my parents afterwards, and everyone was just smiling, crying, all the emotions. So it was amazing.
Did you expect to play in that game? Do you expect to get the call to participate?
I mean, in a sense, I had confidence in myself, but I also was iffy because I was okay, you're just coming to the team and you're young. So I tried to be so don't get too upset if you don't. But I mean, I strive for the best, and I strive to do my best to be the best. And so in a way, I did have a little bit of confidence in terms of I think that I have done enough to make it. And I think that my best is good enough to be able to be on this team.
So preparing up to the World Cup in terms of, in training, for example, were you playing well in training and figuring out, what, I can compete with my teammates, I can compete for a spot, and I should be able to get some time when we go on the field. Did you get that sense where you were in training?
Yeah, I did. I mean, of course, went into it a little bit nervous, knowing that everyone has some more experience than me. They're older than me, everything like that. But I mean, at the same time, there's nothing I can do about that. That's just what it is. So I just went out there and I gave it my all. And I mean, looking back on the trainings afterwards, I think that I did pretty well. And so times like that, I was okay, you actually, this can actually, become your reality. This doesn't just have to be a dream. And so once you get that feeling, I feel I mean, you're just chasing it without any thought. You're just going for it. So that's what happened every practice, every training. I just went for it. And I mean, I was able to get great time and, really happy with my performance and everything with the World Cup.
And what was the camaraderie like amongst the teammates? How do you support each other throughout the competition?
It's amazing. We had a prayer group before games, which helped with me a lot because I mean it was a variety of anyone who wanted to join it, and it just helped calm our nerves and put trust in God and everything like that because we've put in a bunch of work, but I mean we have to keep our faith in Him, and so I think that was one of the biggest things that just helped calm everything during the World Cup and before the games. Everyone, if you needed help, then someone was right there to help you. No one had any malicious intent. Everyone was just watching other's backs and helping each other out, lifting each other up, whether that's on the field, whether it's something that doesn't have to do with the field, but it may be bothering you. So the team was basically just another family. And I call them my second family now because everyone just was so helpful. And, I was able to talk to anyone if I needed anything.
Did you pinch yourself while there? Because think about it. You're young, you watch these players as professional playing, and you're actually on the field competing against them. Did you stop during the game and say, I'm really here? Or was it just you just soaked it up and it was fine?
It was, I mean, after the games, and then when we were thanking the fans, after, the France game, Panama, Brazil, and we just went around thanking, and I was whoa, I'm really, I mean, I think you could tell I was dancing on the field because I was just overwhelmed with so much joy. And I was just this is insane that this is my real life. And then even when we came back home and I would watch some of the World Cup games, and I was I do not believe that I was just there and I was just competing in that same tournament. So it was really cool experience.
So it's my last question before I go back to Andre. Did you get a chance to interact with players from other teams, or did you guys just stay as a clique together?
I think, I mean, after games, some of the players were able to. I think I was kind of too caught up in the moment too at the time. I was just I don't even know what I was thinking. I was just all over the place. But yeah, there's you saw Bunny and Marta talking after the Brazil game, so things like that, just sharing respect and everything like that. They were able to do.
Okay, Andre.
So you came on in the first game. You mentioned just now that your speed, Mbappe, you're similar to Mbappe, and you came on in the first game, and you can see that you're quick and in training. Who's the fastest player in the environment? Was it you?
I think, I mean, when we did our sprints, I think it was more of a tie for me and Denisha Shaw, or not Denisha Blackwood. Um,
Okay.
we're both going for it, but yeah, I try to be, so I
you,
try.
you
I
try
thought
to
you were
be.
going to say Jody Brown, for example, versus Blackwood.
Jody Brown was up there too. It was a lot. I don't even remember completely.
So
Okay.
you came on against France. Was it easier the second time coming onto the pitch than it was the first time, or because I mean, you guys had Colombia, Brazil in your group. Those are big teams. Those are very, very good teams. They control the game. They see a lot of the ball. Was it any easier for you the second time around?
I think that it was actually harder. I'm not really sure how it worked. I think that the game that I was most calm for was the France game, and
Mhm.
then I think against Panama and against Brazil, my nerves were more heightened. And so I guess that's because, after France, we were like, okay, guys, like we can really do this. We can really get out of the group. And so I think that, I mean, after that game, it just, as the tournament went on, nerves got higher and higher.
So you know, as a coach, I'm brave. So you had the first game, there was the red card in the game. So your star striker was missing in Bonnie Shaw. Um, I was hoping, you'd start in the second game because I know of your goal scoring prowess. I know that you score a lot of goals, and I think given the time, with your pace and your ability, it you know you probably could have produced something, but that's not for you to deal with or for me. Somebody else is in charge of that. Um, as you, what did you learn about yourself? You've been to a World Cup now. At your age, you probably, um, with the blessings, you're gonna see a couple more, hopefully. What did you learn about yourself being at the World Cup as a player?
I mean, I learned a lot about just how tough I am mentally
Mm.
and physically. On the mental side of things, I learned how to control my nerves a lot more. I learned how to, not let my stress get to me when I'm on the field and have that be two separate things, because that's something that I did struggle with going into the World Cup and going
Mhm.
into camps, everything like that. And so I think that this tournament has really helped me on the mental side of things be able to just relax in a way and be able to play under pressure and not, crack under pressure, and just, trust in myself, trust in my abilities, and not like lose faith in what I know I can do and what I know I've put in the work to be able to do. And I think that's my biggest takeaway and the biggest, most rewarding thing that I've, mentally gotten from this experience.
And I hope you can see some of the comments that we're putting up that people are you have a lot of fans out there, and people are grateful for you deciding to represent Jamaica.
Yeah.
Um, so as you came back from the World Cup, you mentioned just now you couldn't believe that you were there. You've got to you got to go back to school. What was the first day of school like?
It was kind of hectic because I missed my first week of school because I was in Australia. So coming back, I was basically just all over the place trying to get caught up with everything and, understand everything. I mean, of course, all the teachers were saying congratulations. The students were saying congratulations. I got a really warm welcome from some of my friends and family when I got home from the airport. And so everyone here has just been so supportive. I'm still getting some teachers who just come up to me and just congratulate me for, everything I've done with Jamaica. And so it's been an amazing amazing welcome back. Of course, I'm still doing schoolwork and everything like that, so I'm not exempt from that. But
Yeah. You got to do good schoolwork as well. They're not
yes,
going to let you off. They're not going to let you off for that. Look,
exactly.
you've playing at a World Cup. It's a massive thing. It's a small group of people get to do that. If you do the math, sometimes it's under 1,000 people that get so that's huge. The quality of the football was good. People was getting up. I was getting from 4 o'clock and 6 o'clock in the morning to watch the games, to watch Jamaica. Enjoy seeing you get on the pitch. It's an amazing experience, I'm sure. The entire climate. I've had the pleasure of going to a World Cup before when Trinidad qualify, and people tend to behave to embrace you as a small country, or a country that the expectation is not that you would get there. Did you guys get to experience that, where you were just like everybody seems to be Jamaican fans?
Yes, we did especially against after our first game, and we were going around thanking the fans. I have some pictures of me just being like in shock that there's so many people just here to watch us, to support
Right.
us, and it's just such an amazing feeling to see, like, since it's our second time making it to the World Cup and our fan base is growing. We obviously had a great run. We're able to get 13th in the nation, so we're moving up in the ranks. And so, it's just so excited for the future, and I think the fans are too. And seeing the fan base grow is just so amazing. Everyone's been so supportive, and it's great to be able to have that support. It's great to have, hear that on the field when they're cheering you on and, egging you on to score a goal, anything like that. It's just been amazing having all the fan support. And we hope it continues to grow as we do.
I don't see why it won't. Last question before I turn it back to Cronky. What's next for the Reggae Girls?
We have the Olympic qualifiers coming up in September. So we play Canada and Jamaica, I think, on the 22nd. And then we play Canada again in Canada to see who, will qualify for the Olympics. So we're hoping to get a good result out of that and be able to make it to the Olympics and, start another great run.
What have you played in Jamaica before?
I've not played an actual game. I've had a camp there, or a few camps there, but I haven't had a game.
Okay, so haven't played. Sorry, Cronky, I just following up here. So haven't played in front of so much people at the World Cup. What would you like to say to the Jamaican fans? What would be your ideal environment for that game?
I just want, anyone who can to come out and be loud, be supportive, and we would love to see you guys. We love to sign autographs, take pictures with you guys, all of the above. And it's great seeing you guys, and come out and support us, and we would love that, and we hope to make you guys proud and get a great result against Canada.
Wonderful. Cronky?
So I want to touch back to the World Cup, because when I watched the games, what I saw was against the better teams, you see that we're playing more of a low block, stern defensively. But against Panama, for example, we're more open. Was that the strategy that Lorne he employed in terms of who we played against?
Yes. So, as we got a lot of shutouts throughout the game, our whole three group stage games, we were able to get shutouts. And so we focused really hard on defensively when we were playing super offensive teams like France and Brazil. And we knew that Panama was a must-win game. So there's a sense of, rather than it just being the ranking of Panama versus the ranking of France, we knew that was a must-win game. And so we went into that knowing we needed to score. And of course, Swavey was able to, get her head on it, which was amazing. And we all went ecstatic. But I think that, that was a game plan going into it, but as well as the fact that we just knew that against France and against Brazil, we were able to tie and move on, or try to move on when it comes to France. But against Panama, it was a must win.
What's the biggest difference you see between those teams who are in the tier 1 level and say other teams like ourselves who are good teams, but not at the level of England or France as Spain, for example. What's the biggest difference you see between us and those teams?
Well, I mean, I think that they've obviously been together for a long time. We're still a very young team and have a lot of growing to do. I mean, I love the way that they play soccer. I think that once we're able to mold and get more time together, we're going to be able to, know each other's chemistry on the field a little bit better. I think those are some things that we can improve, moving into Olympic qualifiers and hopefully the Olympics and just moving forward in the future in general.
What lessons have you learned from participating in the World Cup that you think will sort of stay with you going forward?
So I mean, confidence has been a big one, knowing that, and something that I did struggle with a little bit going into it, just because I knew I was so much younger and I knew that, a lot of these people have gone to the World Cup or playing professionally really well. And so I think just keeping my confidence, keeping like tunnel vision during the tournament, there's really nothing else I need to be worrying about, nothing else I need to be caring about, and just stay focused. I mean, really my biggest one is just keep my confidence up no matter what. If I mess up on the field, then you work to get it back, you work to make up for it, you don't harp on it. And I think those are some big takeaways that I've been able to imply or use coming back already. So it's been great.
And how do you think this experience will influence, sort of affect your future goals and aspirations in the sport?
Yes, I mean, I came into this tournament having the same goal of just wanting to make it basically as far as I possibly can in soccer. Being more specific, I want to, go pro. I want to be one of the leading goal scorers on my team and, of course, score a lot of goals, as it says. And I want to have a long career. Even though I'm starting young, I don't plan on stopping anytime soon. And so I think, those have been kind of my goals then, but say my goals now.
Were there any sort of cultural learnings? You in Australia, it's the other way across the world. Any cultural learnings you gained from traveling and playing in Australia and a different country? I'm not sure if you played aside, apart from camp in Jamaica, but have you played competitively outside the US? Any learnings you have from Australia? Go ahead.
I have not. No, I've been pretty much in the US my whole life. The first time I left the country in general was in February when I went with the team to Australia. So I've been to Australia, to Jamaica, and then that was pretty much it in terms of like leaving the country and cultures outside of the country. But I've been able to learn a lot more about the Jamaican culture, just being around so many Jamaicans. And when we went into Jamaica with everything like that, it was just amazing to be able to get, more personal experience with it.
So there are a lot of young boys and girls who watched the Reggae Girls play. They made the round of 16. You did extremely well. You're in most newspapers across the world. You knocked out one of the Peruvian favorite, Brazil. What advice would you give to a young person like yourself, who's still very young, in terms of what this entails, what this means, and how this should influence them going forward?
Yeah, I would just say, honestly, just go for it. I did not see myself playing in the World Cup like 6 months ago. And so it just turned around very quick. And so basically, work on yourself behind the scenes. Like, you don't need to be getting praise every single time you go out and put in extra sprints, every single time you go for an extra workout, early morning, late nights. So don't worry about the praise, but just really enjoy the journey and enjoy the work you put in, because that's the only way you're going to be able to continue it long term. You need to love bettering yourself, love making yourself better, and giving yourself the best foot to put forward. And so just go for it and let everything else just fall into place. God has your back. And so just go for it, do your best. And don't let the outside negativity affect you on the field.
So I want to go back a little bit and ask you this question. I think Neil put this question up. Here's the question, which is, did you meet any of the players you may have held up as heroes as you progressed through your career? What was it like meeting or playing against those heroes?
Yes, so I met Sam Kerr in Australia. I got a picture with her, and I got her jersey from the game we played against her, which was really, really cool. And so that was the one I was talking about having hung up in my room. So she was one of the players that I was just like starstruck when I met. And then, of course, playing against, iconic players like Marta and Renard, and just players that I watched in the World Cup 4 years ago, and I was just like in awe of their abilities and how great they were. And so, I mean, even times when I was on the field, I was like, wow, like I'm really playing against these superstars, and I just have so much respect for them and what they do and how they carry themselves. And so it was just surreal being able to play against just such amazing people.
Last question before I go back to Andre. I'm a big proponent of education. How do you plan to balance? I'm going to digress now from the World Cup and come back to here, which is how do you plan to balance school and football, or soccer, as we call it, given that you play prominently outside of school, you're going to be playing, I assume, playing in college, and also you're in a very challenging academic environment.
Yeah, so I mean, time management has been really good. You have time to do all that you need to. You just got to minimalize your distractions. And so that's something that, I mean, even I've been struggling with, but I've gotten better with as I've been missing some school. So I kind of don't have a choice. I've been doing schoolwork. I did some while I was at the World Cup. We had some summer work that we had to complete. And so really just staying focused. I still prioritize my schoolwork, and I think having those two things as my biggest values, it's not super hard to, make sure you do everything well and do everything on time and everything like that.
Okay. Andre? Andre, it seems like you're muted. At least I can't hear you.
Yes, okay. I am muted. Sorry about that. You and your family have made a massive decision, and it paid off. You went to a World Cup to make the decision to go play for the country of your parents' birth. That's massive, having been born in America, and that, for obvious reasons. But I respect that. I respect that tremendously, and it paid off. And I'm sure anybody in your situation would have to make their own decision. But if you would have, if someone came to you and say, look, I'm considering this, considering making the same decision you make, how would you handle that?
I would say, I mean, I think, of course, everyone's different. For me, I have zero regrets at all. And I think that I've been, I saw what the coaches, could tell the coaches saw a lot in me and how much they believed in me. And I think that's a motivating thing. So if that player sees that they were getting more support from a coach, from a team perspective, either or, then I think that's where you're going to be more comfortable with. And I think that's where you're going to excel the most, no matter what country it is. And I mean, basically just trust your instinct, trust your gut, and trust what your heart is telling you. I had zero questions going into it in terms of I knew when I was with the Jamaican team that I wanted to play for Jamaica. So basically just go for that.
You have a bright future. I think everybody would agree with that. There's a lot ahead for you. You said you want to play pro. You're going to go to college at this moment. That's what's next along the way. I'm just happy to see you progress and how you have done, and really excited. To be honest with you, I was getting up in the morning to see you get on the pitch, and hoping that you start, because I like these kind of stories. I think it's brave. You and your parents have been brave to make this step, and I think it has paid off. So I just hope that starting in September, you get to be involved more. You get on the roster and you get to be involved more, and you can really show people what you have to offer. Because I have a little idea. I have a little idea of what you have to offer.
Yeah.
I tried sharing it during the World Cup, but I don't think it was. I don't think they heard me. I don't think they heard me. So, I personally, I don't know if Cranky have anything else. I don't want to keep you much longer. I know you have school tomorrow, and you practice this afternoon. And I know practices, they're not easy. They're not standing around. So, Cranky, if you have anything else,
The only thing I say is this: is that first of all, Sola, we really appreciate you playing for the country, you embracing the country, you doing really well, trying to balance academics and sport is always a difficult challenge, but you do it beautifully.
Thank you.
You actually speak as well as you play, which says a lot for you. You're very, very articulate and very composed for being so young. I remember when I was 17, probably hiding behind the camera, much as being in front of the camera. So it's kudos to you. It's kudos to you actually to be so comfortable in an environment with a lot of individuals listening to everything that you're saying and being so articulate and so forthcoming. So we really appreciate you joining us. Here's my last question. What is one behind the scenes thing that's happened at the World Cup that we may not know about, anecdote or anything that you want to leave us with as you go? Anything you want to say to the audience before you go?
That's a good question. Well, I mean, one thing to just say to the audience is just thank you for all of your guys' support. It's not going unnoticed, whether that's just in me and the team and the country. It's well appreciated, and we really couldn't be here without you guys. It's just great having you guys in the background and anything like that. So any little thing we love, and so thank you for that. I mean, behind the scenes, I guess I've had, personal talks with coaches, with teammates, like Shayna Matthews. She's a mom, and she was basically like my second mom while I was over there. And so, I mean, things like that are just something that I really value with the team. And I think it's great, for the world to know just how close we are and how much we love each other. No matter, I mean, I could go to her with anything on my mind. And so that's something that I just, would like to give her a little shout out and, just show my appreciation. But yes, so that's it.
All right. So thanks a lot. Appreciate having you. Go ahead, Andre.
How are you with Jamaican food?
I was good. I'm able to have some now. My grandma is also Jamaican on my mom's side. And so anytime she comes over, it's, she cooks a lot of it. So I'm familiar to it, and it's not something that was like new to me when I went to Jamaica.
Right.
But yes, I love it, of course.
What's your favorite dish? What do you enjoy the most?
That's a good question. I like chicken curry, I think. My favorite
Curry
one.
chicken? Okay.
I'm a chicken girl. Through my mom. My mom.
I think Trinidadians cook curry a little bit better, so maybe you need to talk to coach about that.
You know what? So we're gonna give it. They need to be good at something. We're gonna give them that. If you want to be better at curry, we're gonna give them something because they're struggling in other areas. So we're gonna give you curry.
You might need to talk to coach about that, and so you can tell for yourself. Don't take my word for it.
I will have that conversation.
Well, I know you probably did some extra work after training today, right?
I did, yes.
What did you do? What did you do after training?
We just did some fitness afterwards. I mean, I've been, transferring from the Australia, like 50-degree weather to now mid-90s, which is a big jump.
Right.
And so, of course, I'm able to feel that when I'm on the field. And so, I mean, I'm putting in the extra work to, get my fitness back to where it needs to be, even when it's in the heat. I think that's the best place to be putting in, fitness. Also, when we go down to Jamaica, it's not like the heat's going to disappear for us. So something we need to be equipped for and used to. And so that's something that I'm really trying to, improve on the way to Jamaica, or before we go to Jamaica, I guess.
Well, I know you're a resilient individual, and you're going to do well. Best of luck in the future. You're in good hands. I know you got a good club coach, so you're going to continue to develop. and be ready for if you get that call for September. And I wish you good luck. I hope I'll be cheering you on. Hope you get some more minutes and to show the Jamaican public what you can do.
Yes,
All
yes,
right.
too. Thank
Solely,
you.
great meeting you.
It was
Have a
great
good
speaking
night.
with you. You
Yeah,
too.
thanks a lot.
Thank
Okay,
Bye-bye.
you.
all right.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
So, ladies and gentlemen, that was Solly Washington, who was one of the Reggae Girls, 17 years old. I'm amazed for someone so young, so polished, so articulate, so mature, and also a very, very good player, but also academically inclined. And as she mentioned, she's going to Duke University when she completed her high school. So, great conversation, actually, Andre.
Yeah, we also have there's a side conversation going on right now about who has the better curry chicken, but we're gonna leave that alone.
Andre, we gave that to you. We don't want to argue that point.
Not some
I mean,
of the guys
we play. We are at the Gold Cup. You're not doing well. We go to the Women's World Cup. You're not there. We're at the World Cup Championship for athletics. You're not really that there because I see it. Trinidad athletes, but they're not placing. So we're gonna give you something. We cannot be selfish and just take everything for ourselves.
So you're being sympathetic, and I appreciate that.
Sympathetic, empathetic, all the tactics.
All the
Yes, I'm
tactics,
giving you all. I'm giving you all the tactics that you want. I'm giving them to you. It'd be unfair of me to try to manipulate, monopolize everything that relates to, Jamaica versus Trinidad. That's not fair, Andre.
No, it was good having Solai, and I think she's a really good talent. She's a really good talent.
No, she was actually. I was impressed with her at the World Cup. And when you're 17 to play in a World Cup, there's very few players at 17 get to play in the World Cup. I mean, Pele did way back when, but Pele was Pele. And we have a few more young players, but it's not normal. In the women's sport, you see more of it, right?
Yeah.
But it's not normal for 17-year-olds to play in World Cup and play and do well, actually.
But she's in some good company. There's Salma, I think it's a name from Spain, who's I think this is her third major tournament that she has won. She's only 19, so when you could.
But as you know, 19 is big different. People don't realize that when you're a teenager, 14 is much more different from 16, right? It's when you get in your 20s and your 30s that age really narrows.
Right.
But 2 years of teenage is a big gap. So
yeah, different.
To be 17 and playing is a great thing. Yeah.
Look, Ricardo. Did you see that comment? Said I'm lucky.
Ricardo saying, we have to put Keterak on hold sometime. We can't always have him. He can't be a challenge.
He's probably playing songs as he said.
Yeah. No, he's the warm-up sound. I think people don't realize he's the one who warms the crowd up before the real DJs come in or the real DJs come in. He's not the main selector. Don't let him fool you. He's not the main selector. Unless it's not an important event.
How do you think the team is going to go against Canada in September?
I think it's going to be tough. Canada didn't do too well in the World Cup, right? And Canada is going through their own problems with their administration, just like a lot of the women's team, frankly. It's not just normally administrative challenges for football teams resides with male teams and mainly normally in the African countries, whatever it is. With a women's team, whether it's Spain, whether it's France, whether it's Canada, and these are industrialized countries, they have big issues and big challenges. Because I think part of it is about being equitable, being treated fairly. The administration is not sponsoring the program and giving them the right support, financial and otherwise. And the ladies are saying that can't be the case anymore because we're generating revenues. Right. Now, I will put my foot in my mouth by saying this, which is I don't think revenue should be distributed what we call equally if you're not generating the revenues based on your participation, based on your sponsorship, whatever source the revenue comes from. It could be a better distribution. But like what the US is doing 50-50, nowhere in life, unless you're in a communist environment, where one person generates 10 times you and you get the same amount. It's not logical.
Right.
But you can have support the program by maybe giving, say, 20%, 30% versus giving 50-50. But at the same time, I think if you support the program, you'll get more interest You'll generate more spectator views, more TV revenues, to then for the program to be self-sustaining. So you have to invest in the program for it to do well. But a lot of countries haven't do that, right? They want to get the credit on the back end when it does occur, the women do well and they get notoriety.
Right.
But they want to make the investment up front, which they need to do. So I think we need to see more countries invest in the sport because, frankly, I got up at 4 o'clock in the morning, not because Jamaica played, because the football was good.
Yeah, the football was very good. It was very good. I watched a lot of the games, and sometimes you go to sleep late, and then I gotta get up at 4 o'clock. That's just maybe 2 or 3 hours sleep. But the football, there's a lot of the countries was good. The final was a very good game. All of the games that Spain was involved in, Colombia. The football was
you wonder if what did Spain do in that Japan game, because they lost 4 to Japan. I don't think any team can really beat Spain 4-0. So you question.
Japan is good.
Yeah, but 4, come on, Andre. They didn't try that game.
In my mind, they were one of the favorites. The quality of the football is up there, is as good as Spain football. And football is sometimes things don't go your way in one game or the other, but that's a very good Japanese team, and they've been that way for a long time.
So the question has been asked around the game coming up. I know, and Ricardo asked me, I'm going down for a game. No, I can't make it. I'm doing some traveling actually. September, November. Yeah. I'm not going for the game. But I will say I'll sponsor a few tickets. And secondly, too, if you're in Jamaica, I don't think unless you're really, really busy, you should try to get to the game. I think the girls at least deserve that. They deserve to be recognized. They deserve your support. They have represented the country well. The country is proud of their accomplishment and get the benefit, notoriety, branding from it. So we should reciprocate by supporting them by going to the game. So we should do that.
Well,
that's the least we can do, actually.
It will be interesting to see how much people come out because, in Australia, there were some countries, they had, Colombia, England, Spain, the stadium was packed. I think I was joking with a friend the other day. I see when Jamaica play, I think I saw half a dozen people, but it's
but we don't have the resources to travel to Australia like some people who are selling their house.
No, but
and go to the football game and
it's expensive.
Come back home.
It's expensive to go to Australia. Very expensive.
Yeah.
But hopefully, the girls have done well. They work hard. They represented well. They made the country proud. I think every Jamaican is proud about their how they represented the country on that stage. So hopefully now that they're coming home, that people would turn up and make them, make them feel.
Yeah, but Andre, the JFF has to promote the event, right?
Yeah.
If a party's being kept and no one knows about the party, no one will come to the party.
Right. Yeah.
You have to promote the event so people get out there, communicate the message about the game, incite, find ways to make it that people want to come to the game, make it easy for them to come to the game, and people attend. Make it an event, create an event around the game, and what people want to come to the game and support the girls versus what we normally do is most like silent than anything else, actually. I don't think the JFF does the best job or their marketing department in promoting the games. They need to do so.
Well, is there a marketing department?
So here Neil said he will also buy tickets if he's there. So yeah, I'll be willing to do so. Actually, but we should try to get as many people as possible to support the girls because they deserve it.
Are tickets available already?
I don't know. I mean, the games are next month. It should be or close to it. Maybe we'll talk to Mannings about how we can get that information and intelligence so we can inform the public about that.
Yeah, as soon as he come out of his undisclosed location.
Yeah, he keeps saying he's an undisclosed location.
Yeah.
It didn't look like a jail or anything, so I don't think that's it. Sometimes people go to undisclosed location, but they're in certain environment. They can't leave of their own volition. So,
right.
But I'm not sure where he is. Yeah, I'm not sure where he
is. He was in that space before. Remember one time he was in that space before.
So I can guess where that is actually. If it's the same space, I can guess. But,
yeah. But
I won't guess in the public domain, but I can guess. If he wants us to know, he would have told us. Yes, I would agree with that one.
Yeah,
I would agree with that one.
But I hope I just hope he's okay.
Yeah, no, also too, and look, we have Nations League coming up. Also, the Reggae Boys are also playing. We're looking forward to hear or see who will be any new players coming into the squad. That should be interesting. Some of the players are doing well. Antonio did well last week.
Oh, he
Bailey
scored a great
scored
goal this
twice
weekend.
in.
He scored a very good goal.
Yeah, he scored a great goal this weekend. Bailey scored this weekend, and he scored in the Europa Conference League or whatever we call that, against Hibernian. So yeah, the Reggae Boys are doing well generally. And we're hearing about Cephas, who hopefully gets called, is in Turkey, creating havoc. So a lot of players locally developed and or overseas seem to have been doing well. And people are now, competition for places will heat up quite a bit, actually, which is good for the country.
Yeah, I think, as I've always said, you're all in a good place at the moment. And,
Andre, don't talk about Trinidad. Just say, you know what? We're Jamaicans. Andre, I tell you this is a true story. Well, it's a true story. It's going to sound really bad, but I'm going to say it anyway. When I was in the military, I used to have a friend from Trinidad. And it was way back when. It's a long time ago. I'm dating myself. But we would go to places that you say you're from Jamaica, and they're like Bob Marley, man, and reggae music. And you say from Trinidad, and they're like, what is Trinidad? So at some point, he started saying he's from Jamaica. And everybody said, oh, Jamaica, yeah, man, track and field, Bob Marley. There's a while ago, right? So, not everyone is sophisticated enough when you're in the military to know that Trinidad is really their country. Some people haven't left their state where they live. They have no idea about what countries where. No, seriously, it was the case.
Yeah, that is true. You still meet people like that who have never even gone out of the state, which is quite interesting. But we see.
I think most Americans don't have passports, so people don't realize that, I think.
But I don't know why it's very difficult to get one renewed now.
I renewed mine. It took about 5 months. It took a little while, actually. Because when COVID occurred and if your passport expired during that period, and you don't realize it takes a while, actually, because they're backed up. So someone's asking the question, is Mason Green be considered for the Nations League? I will admit, I will make up stories. I have no idea. There's a lot of information in the public domain about Mason. The English press are running with a lot of stories, made up stories sometimes, because they're taking the word of Dennis Strong about Jamaica's interest in the player. But I don't think anyone truly knows whether or not. First of all, I'm not sure he's got his papers yet, which you have to do. And secondly, the kid got to go figure out what he wants to do and where he's going to go.
Yeah.
The least thing he should not be worried about is what country he's going to play for. He has to get his life together first, then figure out direction of travel. So I know we all wanted to come play for us because he's an exceptional talent. He's a generational talent, frankly. Left foot, right foot. Kid is a brilliant player, but he has some personal stuff he has to work out first. With his family, Manu, where he's going to go next. That should be his main focus. We want to come play for us, frankly. So I think England and its morality are really interesting. And I want to make sure people are clear on my perspective, which is I don't believe in anything abusive to anyone, male or female, especially female. Secondly, though, you're innocent until proven guilty. And I know that some of the pictures and verbiage in the environment when things occur are not the most digestible. But if the authorities say you're not guilty, if Manu say in the investigation things were what they seem to be, we don't know what it was. We have to take things as they're provided to us. We don't have all the answers. We don't have insight. I listen to a lot of different programs. I listen to a lot of British TV, and people are making decisions and drawing conclusions. I look at Mendy's case, for example, where Mendy's career is ruined, and he was charged with a lot of different stuff, proven not guilty, but no one is saying we're sorry for Mendy. They have moved on because they think he's guilty, even though the authorities say you're not guilty. So if someone accuses you of something, you're guilty, and you can't be proven innocent. There's no such thing. The court of public opinion can be harsh. If there's a victim, I support the victim. I want the victim to do well. I don't want these things to happen. But I don't have the answers. I'm not sure anyone else does. We don't have the facts. We don't have the evidence. So we can't draw a conclusion based on information that we don't have. I like to have facts to substantiate situations and circumstances. There's always 3 sides to every story, not 2, 3. Until you hear all 3 sides, you shouldn't draw a conclusion. So,
Yeah, that's a difficult one to get involved with because there are people involved have opinion for different reasons and have some of the facts and not all the facts. So it's one that I think he should be allowed to sort himself out as you're suggesting, instead of trying to rush him into another chapter. You know, sometimes these things have an effect on people that takes a moment to recover.
Yeah, and the important thing, Andre, is that he's so young. Like when
Yeah,
you're young, you do stupid. Not that he did anything, but as you know, when you're 19, 20, you do stupid things. That's just innate to the age group. Not everyone does, but it's innate to how young you are. And when you're young and privileged, it makes it even worse.
yeah,
I don't know what he did. I don't have the answers. I hear some of what's in the public domain. I see certain pictures. I hear certain recordings, but I don't have all the facts. So I can't draw conclusions without all the facts.
yeah. The world is in transition at the moment, and it seems as though what used to be right is now wrong, and what used to be wrong is now right, and if you get caught up in that turbulence, life could be.
Yeah, and here's the thing, Andrew, I find interesting and hypocritical. So, we have what I call selective morality,
Yeah,
right? We have selective morality. So, some things we're adamant about can't happen because we are so morally inclined, and some things we allow to happen. Like, if you're going to have that morality you're saying you have, then how do you support Saudi Arabia? Let's be frank about that,
mhm,
where people are getting slaughtered who are trying to migrate to that country. People don't seem to realize these things happening in the world, getting
right.
picked off like other animals being shot and killed. If you read the story about Ethiopian and other nations, individuals trying to get to that country, what happens to them, or their laws that they have, which are draconians in nature, right? But yet they buy teams in England. You love them to buy teams. You can't have you can't have Abramovich buy Chelsea when you know his money was gotten illicitly, right? You can't bring in a lot of Russian money in your country when you know that money came in illicitly in a lot of instances that support your economy. So I don't like people who have selective morality. If you're going to be moral, be moral. Don't lose your moral compass because you know what? It satisfies what you want. Be a truly moral person. That means all those things which are hideous in life and in nature in general, be adverse to them. Don't be selectively adverse. Don't be selectively abhorrent, something abhorrent to you, but other things you close your eyes if they don't happen, but you know they do happen. That's the hypocrisy that I can't tolerate and can't support.
Yeah, it's been a very we're in a very difficult place at the moment, and everybody is almost like one of the things. There's some things that I find it hard to discuss with people because to begin with, everybody is so busy that nobody's gathering any information about any one topic or situation in the world today. So most people are functioning from a deficit of information. So it's hard to have
Yeah.
conversations about anything. But the one thing that we can agree on is that Arsenal is heading in the right direction.
The one thing you can agree on, this is not a we thing. So we can talk a bit of football before we conclude, people. You guys bear with us. If you want to throw in comments about your team, Chelsea, you heard Solai say support Chelsea. That's the one thing tonight that I don't agree with her on, actually. She's supporting the wrong team, but that's just me.
It was
But
kind
anyway,
of cool. She got a picture with Sam Kerr, wasn't it?
that was cool, actually.
Yeah.
Very, very cool.
Yeah.
To see your hero, playing against your heroes, it's awesome, actually.
You know, although there's some people would say that you belong there, so you don't need a picture. You're gonna be back there. You're gonna be. Some people behave like that.
Well, you hear NBA players when they first they grew up watching Jordan,
Yeah.
or they grew up watching Iverson. You're thinking, I'm really playing against this player. That happens in life in general. Right. You meet certain people and you're just like maybe starstruck. Right? Now, some people are so egotistical, they think that person should be starstruck with them. That's a different story for different thing for some people, but you get starstruck. Now, while you're playing, you want to compete. But I do think you admire certain individuals when you're growing up. Just like you hear Shakara Richardson says, when you talk about Shelly and what Shelly has accomplished, And Shelly gave her that look because she said, she grew up watching her, and she's thinking, I'm here running against you. But no, it happens. I mean, no, I thought Solai was brilliant tonight. I thought
she was good. It was very good conversation. Well. Very good conversation. Yeah.
But just to go back to your point about Arsenal and about, I think we have regressed this season so far. And everyone says early days. So we're going to talk about other teams. I know people are going to get perturbed. We're talking about just Arsenal. I know they're Man U fans, but we shouldn't talk about Man U because they're not going anywhere.
No.
When you talk about Chelsea, I think they're going to be on the uptick. And I know the Man U fans like Dockland's going to give me a hard time.
So but, before you give your
my soliloquy.
You use the word regress, right?
Yeah.
So as you follow up with explaining what you mean, I'd like to, when you look at the meaning of the word regress, I would like you to be a little bit clearer on how far back Arsenal has regressed.
I said so far, so things may change as we go through. So here's the reason why. So we bought 3 players, right? We bought 3. Wait. We bought 3 and we got 1 on loan, right? We got a brilliant keeper on loan. But keepers won't make them a difference because they're close in ability. We bought Timber. Timber got injured. Timber's out for the year, so you can't count Timber. We spent over 200+ million pounds. We bought Rice. To me, was played like Enelli so far. And everyone said how wonderful it's been, and he make half his passes sideways or backwards. Not buying it. Haven't seen that dynamic Rice you guys talking about. And I hear with the English press, and they boost up English players, and I don't see what they're talking about. And you bought Havertz for £65 million, who I wouldn't pay £10 for. And Chelsea bit our hands off because they realized we'd like to buy Chelsea players for some reason. And Havertz is not contributing. And we changed the whole system to fit Havertz into the team. And it's not working. We've scored 3 goals in 2 games. If you average it out, it's just over 50 goals for the season. When you score 50 goals, you're like Man U, and we can't keep anybody out. So we scored 80-something goals last season. It makes no sense. It's illogical. Now, people are going to say it's early in the season. Don't get carried away. Havertz is not dynamic. He plays at the same speed. He's like Ozil, even though Ozil was better. He's like, I call Ozil lazy. He's like lazy. I used to call Ozil lazy.
Don't treat Ozil. No, Ozil, hear what I want you to do. I want you to go back to the time period when everybody was jumping on Ozil back and look at the distance covered in the games that he played.
Wait. Andre, before you go any further. See, someone said the same thing about Havertz. They send me stats on Havertz running. I can run around in a circle all day and go nowhere.
Yeah, but Ozil was different. Ozil.
No. When you run a lot, Andre, you have to put a foot in, put a tackle in, cut a pass off, block somebody. Where was he running to? What was he running after? When was he running?
To the opponent's goal, creating chances.
Here's another thing, Andre. You're a coach. Andre, I'm surprised that you're a coach. Football in today is played 2 ways.
It was world class.
No. Football is played 2 ways. The number 10 is dying out. There are very few of them remaining.
You and I gonna get on, and we're gonna go back and watch at some games from Ozil in that time period. And what you're gonna find.
Why do you think Arteta cut Ozil? Why do you think he cut him? He got rid of him for nothing. Got rid of him. He got rid of Ozil, didn't he?
I think there were other things happening there.
And he's forcing Havertz into the team. He doesn't fit. Xhaka, who got crucified by the English media, crucified by my English friends, frankly, and we argue about it all the time, balance out the team.
So think about this, right? If we were to take your perspective that things aren't going right at the moment, but there are 6 points. 6 points from 2 games, maximum points. Could you imagine what would happen when everybody's healthy and things are going
Andre, here's what happened, Andre. The more you play the soft teams early, the more hard teams you have later to play. And repeat that. Newcastle played City already. They're going to play Liverpool Sunday. They played Villa already. 3 very good teams. Right? We haven't played anybody yet. And we only scored 3 goals. And the team we're playing, they play low block football. So when you have a lot of position, doesn't mean you're playing well. People are confusing that. When the team is playing low block football and doesn't have the ability to counterattack you, you can look good. Let's
Who's
see
up
when we get
next?
some competition what happens.
Who's up next?
They're playing Fulham.
That's
Better team,
That's a tough one.
but they don't have a center forward. Mitrovic is not there, so they don't have a center forward.
Yeah, but that's a team that can beat you if you mess around.
Nah, they're not supposed to be able to beat us. So, guys, let's hear your questions. We're gonna sign off soon. Around, you want to talk about your team? We can talk about Man U, for example.
No.
And I've said this too about players.
No.
Havertz and Mason Mount, I would never touch those players with a 10-foot pole. And Mason Mount is proving my point going to Man U and how he's playing. And I used to get a lot of arguments from my friends talking about Mason Mount, how good he is because he played in Chelsea and they won Champions League. That wasn't about Mason. Mason Mount and Havertz to me are Mason is a much more dynamic player than Havertz, but he's not really dynamic in the sense of create situation, create goals, make goals. That's not Mason. Mason's a good player, runs a lot, he's decent. He played for England, doesn't mean he's a very, very good player. And if you play Mason Mount and Fernandes in the same team, and Fernandes, by the way, who sulks all games, doesn't play any defense, he's Ozil. He's a little more mobile Ozil. That's what he is. He's a little bit mobile Ozil. He's Ozil.
Leave Ozil.
Ozil is more silky, but they're both skillful players. They can create goals, they can pass. Whiny players. Don't do any defensive work.
I don't think Ozil problems had. I think it had less to do with football. It had more to do with.
No, it was football. It was football. I used to compare Ozil before when he played for Wenger, before he went into Arteta. I'm glad Arteta at the minimum realized that I can't play with 10 men on defense. I have to play with 11. But we go back to Man U. We're not going back to Arsenal. I think Man U has some problems. Shaw is injured. Mount is injured. They have some challenges. They don't have a center forward because Højlund is injured. They have a lot of injuries. And a question for you, Andre, which is there's a lot of injuries this year, Andre.
Yeah.
A lot of injuries across the board, not just for Chelsea. I think Chelsea has 9 players injured.
Yeah.
Man U have a bunch of players injured, and some are out for the year.
Yeah, you saw.
Fofana's out for the year, and Kungu is injured for quite a while. James is injured. A lot of injury
early in the season. I think it's just too much football. All the traveling all around the world, the number of games that they're playing. I think it's just too much.
Yeah. Devin is saying football is a move in the direction where you don't have typical number 10. I agree with that. Man City doesn't have a 10. Newcastle doesn't have a 10. Man U has a 10. But they have to force him out. Why?
I wouldn't say they don't have a 10. I think the 10 is a different type of player today. Because you need players with that type of quality to win matches. So what I would say is the way I look at that is,
no, they have 10 qualities, but they're not the traditional 10.
Right, you're right. And,
yes.
And I think you have to have that, and you need 2 or 3 of them to win. Actually, and when I say 2 or 3 players in a team that could wear the number 10 shirt in any team. I think.
De Bruyne could play 10, but De Bruyne plays all over the pitch.
When Barcelona was doing well, they had 3 or 4 guys that could wear number 10. City has that.
So Granero is saying, missed his name up, with Coach Hallgrimson's policy of not selecting the players unattended, Mason likely won't get called. I'll say this about that comment, Granero. Coaches say that, but they have exception to their policy. Coaches will tell you that all my players have to be in a team, playing competitively, because I can't select them, and yet certain players get selected. England is a perfect example with Maguire. Right? So here's what happens. When Theo Walcott didn't get selected for England way back when, he said the same thing about players like Theo, but then he had to come and tell Theo that you don't fit my system, right? Because he couldn't have that excuse. Because he was selecting other players who weren't playing regularly. And if Mason Greenwood says he's going to play for Jamaica, and if we can't come for this window, he's not coming, I'm sure the coach will get a reality check. Trust me. He will get a reality check.
I think I agree with Neil that he should be allowed to sort himself out before he's asked to come and play for Jamaica.
So Neil is saying won't be this year. Counseling will be key to get his mind and wellness. Yeah, no, I agree with Neil. He has Well, look, I don't know about He may have got counsel before. He's been out since January 2022.
Yeah, it's not
January coming will be 2 years. It's a long time for a footballer.
It's a long time.
If your career is 10 years, it's 20% of your footballing life.
Yeah.
That's a lot of time to be out.
Yep.
I mean, look, he started off young, so he still has time. It's a lot of time not to be playing competitive football.
Yeah, I think
a lot of time.
I think playing for a national team is probably going to be the least of his worries at the moment. I think he may have a lot of things, and you just mentioned the length of time he's out to get playing again, get back match fit, get back, be able to find his way around the pitch, recover.
Yeah, but no one wants to touch him now. I mean, we're getting conflicted information they get inquiries, but as soon as the press start getting some sniff of that, and everyone chipping in, those clubs or countries are backing off, right? So
yeah,
it's interesting to see what will happen.
Everybody's welfare in that situation is what should be the main concern now for anybody in the end. Maybe you end up with too many players and you go onto the pitch with 11 attacking players.
Now I'm curious to see what Jamaica come up with in the next window. If we have players coming in, I hope that we have a few more coming in. We did well in the Gold Cup. I thought we should have done better, at least in the last game, given the quality we have in the field. I see Gray's going to Saudi Arabia. Not a good thing. Well, maybe a good thing for him financially, but he's not playing at the highest level. So we see how that works out. Because most of the players are going over now, even though we have seen some change in that strategy, have seen their better days. Brilliant players that have seen their better days. They're now pursuing players who still have something left in the tank. So we'll see what happens. But surprised Gray's going in that direction versus trying to find a team in the Premier League to play with.
Who do you all have again for Nations League?
I think who are we playing? Is it Canada? I think it's Canada.
The girls are playing Canada, isn't it?
No, I think it's Canada, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay. Well, that's a good one. Canada at home. That's a good one.
Yeah. Now it should be. I'm sure the boys are going to be raring to go. They're probably very motivated coming off the Gold Cup, and there's probably been a lot of camaraderie in the team, and would really want to demonstrate where they see themselves, especially against Canadian. Canada didn't use their best team probably in the Gold Cup, so I'm sure they probably have their full team to play us. But we're playing at home, and we do well at home. That's what we play Canada at home. We play well against Canada at home and US at home, actually. So, Haiti?
Devon Porter is saying Honduras and Haiti.
Oh, I thought it was Canada, so I'm mistaken.
Do you know who's Duckland's team?
Duckland is Manu, I think.
Is Manu? Okay. He says typical Arsenal thing, they win the league after 2 games.
Well, we may not win the league after 2 games, but we know Manu won't be in front of us. That's for sure.
I think Manu's squad is probably a 6 or 7 place finish this season.
Wait, so I sent you the stats I sent you. I sent to Duckland in another group, right?
Yeah.
The stats basically showed Pepe played over 100 and something games, and his stats of goals and assists is better than Sancho and Anthony combined. And Duckland got all on himself and got cute about it and getting all perturbed about stats don't mean anything. The point we're trying to move is that people are saying Pepe cost £72 million. It was a waste of money. He was poor. But his stats are better than Sancho and Anthony combined in less games, frankly.
Yeah.
So I don't think Pepe was a bad player. He just didn't fit Arteta's system.
Yeah, I think he probably needed more time as well. But there's talk about him going to Saudi Arabia, right? So they probably get the money back on that. He probably needed more time. Sometimes,
No, Pepe is a good player, actually.
Very good player, I think.
I like Pepe. I think Pepe is a good player. Emery didn't want him. He wanted Zaha. That's the first bad thing. And then when Arteta came in, he doesn't fit what Arteta wants to do, right? And we know Arteta is, you send him to Siberia. He sent Balogun to Siberia. He sent Tierney to Siberia. He sent Ozil to Siberia. He sent Aubameyang to Siberia. That's what he does. He cut off players and good players too. So, but
don't worry, the team is going to be better in a few weeks, and maybe.
I'm not saying it won't be better. I think we have regressed from where we were last season. We start off like I would want to watch us in Orlando preseason. I watched us in the first 4 preseason game. We were dominant
Against Chelsea. I watched that game too.
I went to the game in Orlando. Yeah.
I was there.
Dominant. They couldn't touch the ball.
Yeah,
that was the whole preseason. Won the first games.
Yeah.
Same momentum. This year, we spent 200 mil and we didn't look like that at all.
That is true. But let me ask you this: Would you
Manu run us out the park?
Hold on. Let me ask you this: Would you rather us start the way we start now and end the way we started last season, or start the way we started last season and end like we end last season?
So I can't answer that question because I have no idea how we're going to end.
Well,
I can't.
Well, no, but
all I can do is compare what's comparable, which is last season to date and this season to date. Right? I don't want to do a supposition about what may transpire at the end, because 2 seasons in a row we have choked at the end, by the way.
But
because our manager is a poor in-game manager. 2 seasons in a row we have choked. We had 4 points to get from 3 games and we didn't. And we lost how many games at the end of the season? We just had to won a few more games.
It was bad.
Yeah.
But it's going to be better. Trust me.
I hope. Here's my thing on our side today. Before, and I want to dominate the conversation with Arsenal still, but here's my thing in Arsenal, which is here's what I would do if I was the manager and I was buying players. I'd have bought the kid Kudos from Ajax, or I would have played Jesus at the 8. I'd have bought Tony and play him up front. So my midfield would have been Rice, Partey, and Jesus, because Jesus doesn't play like a center forward. He played like he's a midfielder. I have a big center forward who has skill, who can pass the ball, score penalties, score headers, playing as my target man, who can link up the ball. I have a dynamic midfield. We're not dynamic right now.
Yeah.
Because our number 8 is not dynamic.
Yeah.
And why would I play Jesus? Here's the thing about Jesus. He doesn't want to play center forward, as he wouldn't be in the box like Nketiah. He spent half his time in his midfield. So if you want to touch the ball a lot, go play the 8. And he plays defense too. Why doesn't he play the 8?
But the team is better when he's in the team. And I don't know.
No, they are better because he's very dynamic, very creative. But why can't you transition? So here's the thing I've heard. I've said this a lot of times, Andre. Football is one of the least creative sports ever. Because the people in there are dinosaurs, a lot of them. So when a few people like Pep do something different, everybody go up in arms and get all excited, and this is so wonderful. Because the sport is not dynamic. You watch American football or basketball, every year they change something. Every year someone comes with something innovative. They're always trying to think about something, whether it's using stats, whether it's revisiting how things work. If you watch a football game, American football game, the innovation of the game is ridiculous about who, front line, cornerbacks, safeties, how they play, what they do. Football is not creative. So when someone like Pep comes with something and then Arteta start copying him, because when Pep closes his book, Arteta doesn't know what he can do. No, it's true. When Pep closes his book, he can't copy anymore.
Do you know that Arsenal just beat Man City in the first game of the season?
We don't beat Man City when De Bruyne is on the field. Let me just say that again. We don't beat Man City when De Bruyne is on the field.
But you could only play who's put in front of you.
And him says again too, we scored a freak goal when Trossard kicked the ball, hit somebody going to goal. That's what happened. The game was almost over.
But that's okay.
And you know what? Nobody counts preseason games.
Is that outside the rules?
Except to give you momentum.
Hold on. I think, have you looked? We have 6 points from 2 games.
Here's the thing, Andrew, people got to understand in life, actually. Life is not just about outcome, It's how I get the outcome a lot of time. Because if the outcome is an aberration and not the norm, and if it's not sustainable, it becomes a problem eventually.
Do you know if
you have to have a process and a means that's sustainable that you can get continuous successful outcomes. Otherwise, it doesn't work.
Do you know that if you get paid for outcome, you make more money?
No, positive outcome. Let's not confuse outcome. We're talking about positive outcome. Don't confuse the concept of outcome with getting more money. It's positive outcome. And frankly, here's the thing. Man City has sustainable process, playing, results, right? If your process is one that can stand up to scrutiny, can manage adversity, can take a hit and keep on ticking, that's what you should have. not one where you get a little punch and you collapse. Because we get a right hook and we just sprawl out. We're running good. We go to the 11th round and we're doing really well, right? We're boxing like Muhammad Ali or like what's his name? I like Crawford. This is someone more contemporary. Yeah. And we get one left hook and we just cave. We cave.
Trust me, this team is going to make you proud. I'm going to save this place.
I don't even want to watch us this year. I'm so frustrated with the Havertz situation.
This team is.
I am that upset about Havertz.
But I'm going to send you a Tottenham application form.
Huh?
I'm going to send you a Tottenham application form.
No, I'm not a Tottenham fan. El Granero said if we play Mason Greenwood
to cap him.
Yeah. So what he's saying about Ravel didn't get played because Ravel didn't have a team. So if we play Mason, then will that be sort of hypocritical to do so? Look, as I said in life, in any discipline in life, corporate environment, even probably in the church, there's exceptions to the rule. I don't care what anybody tell you. Exceptional talent get exceptional treatment, is what I call it. They get different treatment. If it's in a corporate environment, you have a trader who makes a lot of money for the company, he does some things not right, they find a way to massage and manage it so they can keep him because he's generating revenues for the company. Same way in the government, they have it. And we see it in the government in the US, frankly, make an exception for a certain person. It happens in life. People with exceptional ability or perceived exceptional ability get differential treatment. And the same would be for Mason if he decides to join us. We will cap him.
If he comes to play for Jamaica in this moment, do you think the British press follow him to Jamaica?
Yeah, of course.
And
he's gonna get followed for a while. He's gonna get followed for a while.
Right. How might that affect the Jamaica national team?
I don't think those players would care. I think players would think the British press is hypocritical and they don't treat everyone the same way.
Whether they care or not is not the issue.
I don't think it's not one affect the team. I don't think it would affect the team.
Can it be a distraction? Can it be a distraction to the team?
No, I don't think so. No, I mean, some of those kids grew up in England. They have a different view of what transpired, right? They know how the English press is. They're used to the English press and their hypocrisy. And they lack a diversity in the English press. You go look on TV at the English press, what they look like. Yeah, it's not the most diverse group in the world. So those players have no respect for a lot of them. So it won't affect anything. No, I don't think so. I think players will just get on with the business of what they're doing. And they may embrace him joining the team. I don't know. I can't speak for those players. I'm sure some of them embrace him. Others may have different views. But look, the kid needs to make sure he sort himself out. When he's going to play football again, he's ready to play football. We should think about the kid's well-being versus everything else. People make mistakes all the time in life. And people do things sometimes you wouldn't imagine. People who they are, give their upbringing, and have the best upbringing and do certain things. You can't fathom, but it happens. And by that, I'm not saying he did anything. I'm just saying these things happen. But if you're 19, you make a mistake, it's different from you're 30 making a mistake. And you should get the chance to rehabilitate if you did something wrong that you shouldn't have done. That may have, and you should get penalty for it, and should have repercussions. But you should be given the opportunity to redeem yourself.
So this has to be a slow process because you just said something that is quite interesting. You just said that you don't know how the players in the team is going to react. You would have different reactions. So I think maybe it needs to be a slow process, and the JFF, the coach, whoever, try to understand where the team might be in regards to that.
Well, here's the thing: the most important person in that whole scenario is the coach, and how the coach handled the situation, right? The coach and the people who do media relations will have to handle all the things surrounding this, because there are people in Jamaica, outside of football, who have a different view on this, even though they don't have all the facts. See what Devin is saying here. Devin is a Chelsea fan. I don't know how seasoned people are Chelsea fans. I always find that strange for an up-and-coming team to have seasoned individuals who are fans of Chelsea. I find that strange. It seems more like bandwagonists. But I'll say this, Devin. You guys spend over $1 billion. You should be good. Because most teams in the world who spend a lot of money are good. The teams who spend the most money are all the better teams.
That's a collection of players right now.
You know what I'm saying? If you look at Real Madrid or Barcelona or Bayern or Man U or Man City, and now Arsenal, Newcastle. The teams who spend a lot of money are normally good, apart from Everton, for example. For one of the few teams spent a lot of money and wasted the money. So Chelsea spent $1 billion. They should be doing better than they are now, even though they've got a lot of young players and they try to blend them. And Poch will do a good job. But they spend a lot of money. I mean, it's hard to spend $1 billion. You know, you have to try really hard to spend it. Spend $1 billion. You have to try really hard to spend $1 billion.
Not
In
just for
football,
Chelsea.
they're spending more money than entire leagues combined.
Yeah, that's
you added the Bundesliga and the La Liga and Italian league. I think in the January window they spend more than all of them combined. It's crazy.
I heard someone from the JPL and one time said the transfer budget was it 100,000 or 200,000?
Jamaican dollars. That was speed.
Yeah, Jamaican dollars. I think the equivalent.
That was speed.
The equivalent was about 600 US or something like that.
That wasn't a transfer budget. That was some water money.
Eh?
No, that's water money. It's money to buy water for the season.
It's just like two different words, right?
But what Speed doesn't say is that he's transferring players overseas. Mm-hmm. So what do you do with the money when you get for those players you sell overseas? Because he's selling quite a bit of number of players or selling to local teams. And I've seen some of those numbers. They're more than $100,000 Jamaican. So I'm sure they invest the money back in their infrastructure and for the team. But
look, any
pay
club,
players,
club in the region, that should be the number one priority, developing players so that they can sell into other markets, because there's no other way of really generating revenue. There's not much gate receipts, probably.
Yeah, that's the problem. That's the problem we face, right? There's a population issue, which is, do I have the crowd support the program by gate receipts? Do I have sponsors who they can sell their products through my team as an avenue to do so, or my league as an avenue to do so? That's challenging. So you're not getting the sponsorship, you're not getting the gate receipts, you're not getting the merchandise sales. You're right. Selling players maybe your best avenues to generate revenue.
That's the best avenue, and I think that's where you're going to try to win the league. You got to be competitive in the league, but developing young players to a standard that they can go overseas and play, and the club could make some money. I think that's the best option. So
yeah, no, I would agree. So look, it's an interesting time for the Caribbean and football in general, because people should be thinking about how can we better develop. Look, the World Cup in 2026, we have 3 teams in this region outside of the other 3. All the teams should be vying to figure out they can make the World Cup this time around.
You know what? And maybe I can catch you a second. Cavaliers is playing defense.
Oh, in the region?
Yeah.
Yep.
And that game is 1-1 at the moment.
Where are they playing?
They're playing that game in Trinidad, I believe. Yeah.
So Jamaica should be struggling with a Trinidad team. What's Cavaliers doing? I gotta talk to Speed about that.
Yeah. Trinidad is going through a tough period. And Jamaica, as you just said, is struggling with Trinidad going through as much as if we were on the
it's a rivalry thing. We struggle with Trinidad, but we beat other teams.
I've got to find this game. I'm gonna go watch the rest of this game.
All right. Well, we'll sign off then, sir.
Yeah.
It's always good, Andre.
Yes.
And by the way, I'm saying to all those in the comment section, thanks for joining us. Glad you could join us. The discussion we had with Soda Washington was wonderful. I love to see young people who do well academically and also in sports. She's very polished, very articulate. She seemed to have had a great time at the World Cup. Great experience for her and her family. So kudos to her and her family and to the Reggae Girls again. And my last point before we close out is continued success to the team at something you would know about Andre. So at the World Track and Field Championship, it was very concerning to me that we didn't have any gold medals, but now we have 2 and 2 surprising ones. And not only we have 2, we lost out on the triple jumper who would have won gold, I think, but he pulled up. We lost the long jump in the last jump of the round by 2 probably centimeters. So that was 2 goals that we missed. We had one hurdler who hit a hurdle and was one of the favorites for the 100. So we had a lot of goals we'd have gotten, but then we had 2 shocks to me, or surprises for the world, in Watson and Williams winning their respective events. So it was a great day today, and and Pinnock getting silver, Tate getting bronze, and Gay getting bronze. So great day for Jamaica. I'm glad we could support others. We have some adopted personnel in the region that we're bringing. It's pulling us down, but we're trying still. So Andre, I hope Trinidad do something before something is done to them.
We're working on it. That's the best I can say. We're working on it. Like, everything is cycles, right? Just the other day, in the English league, it looked like Man U would have always been winning, and now I don't know that they're going to see a trophy in a very long time. So now it's Man City.
Can I add that Rob Smith? So we just called him the captain. Rob, what you guys don't realize is this: England is doing that. A lot of players. That's why Tony got capped. That's why Kaiwada Pica's on the cap. Southgate has realized what England have done is a strategy which people don't realize. Identify all the players who can play for another country when we have dual nationality and trying to cap a lot of those players. It's a strategy they're employing. It's not by chance. It's not conspiracy. It's not makeup. It's a fact that they're doing this, right? So if a country can cap a player and cap them if they're under 21 3 times or cap them in competitive games, they should do so because it's a war for talent. So yes, if we can cap a player so he can play for another country and he's a good player, we should do so. Anyway. Sorry, Andre.
That game is on Fox Soccer Plus, by the way.
It is? Yeah. Wow, getting prominence.
Fox Soccer Plus in the US.
Does it belong on? Is it a good enough game to be on Fox Soccer Plus?
Yeah, it's in Trinidad and Defense Forces playing. I want to go see the head coach of Cavaliers with his bag on his back.
Oh, Rob Smith is saying, I don't want to hear anything about anybody. CFAS has earned a call up to this young man as skipped. He's saying CFAS, who is playing in Turkey now. He's moved to Turkey. I think he was in Macedonia before, some places, I'm not sure. But he's playing, it seems like he's playing well and may deserve his call up. And it's something hard for the coach because there's so many players that Jamaica has so much to pick from nowadays. I know you wouldn't understand what that means, Andre. Jamaica has so much to pick from nowadays. It's become difficult for the country. So many players want to play for the little 144 times 44, whatever the numbers are in terms of the size of the country. But a lot of people want to play for the country.
Well, I don't know if you missed it. Somebody suggested a player that could play for Trinidad that, while we were on tonight. So.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, you missed that, right? So we have.
I missed that. Yeah. You need more than one, though.
Yeah, we need.
You need to do what we do. You need to go put the country on the map by sending out a call to the world to say you have Trinidad nationality in any shape or form. You're good. You can apply. That's what countries are doing. The U.S. does that really well, actually. The U.S. are experts at doing that.
Come October, you don't know what rules FIFA may come down with, so you have to be careful.
What do you mean?
Oh, they're always changing the rules, right? I mean, now, recently.
I know. Well, countries like England want to change the rules.
Yeah, no, but now if you play before, if you play in an under 15 tournament in the region, it wasn't a big deal. Now it is a big deal because it's considered. So if I come and play for Jamaica at 14 years old, I have one more chance to switch. If I was born in another
so they
country.
change it from 3 to 2?
Well, what they've done is made the under 15 tournament an official tournament.
Oh, okay.
Right?
So that's the big countries. Why would the African countries and this region, CONCACAF region, even South America buy into that? Why would they?
Well, if there's nobody at the table when these decisions are being made representing you, then
if you export human capital, you should never agree to that. If your people are migrating to other countries for better to get a better life, those countries
you have to be part of the conversation in order to.
That's what I'm saying. So FIFA has all these membership. A lot of these countries, unlike the industrial countries, export people. Frankly, I'll call it export. Or people migrate from them. They should never agree to that. They should vote as a bloc and say, no, we're not doing that. Not to make the Englands of the world or the France of the world retain people who may have a different lineage. They should not have done. They should never do that. They shouldn't allow that to happen. Wait. You hear Devon? You hear what Devon is saying?
Yeah.
You can employ services.
I give you, Mark, I'm sure. So, yes, Devon, I'll be appreciative of that. So let me know what's available.
So Neo is saying FIFA has expanded eligibility, not contract. But what he's saying, Neo, is that they're now changing some of the rules that may result in contracting. But you're right, it is sour grapes. The industrialized countries want to retain all the talent that they have all this brain drain that they're getting people coming to their country, and they want to keep them there and not have them represent where they're coming from and their parents are from. So
yeah, it's this scouting network for some of the bigger countries is just, I know of a kid that is in Europe at the moment. He's from here, and the day that he got his citizenship, he's not from here, he's from Europe, but he got his citizenship from here. The day he got it, he was contacted by the federation. So the
of course they are looking for players.
Yeah, the scouting network.
And nobody's complaining about they're not born in the US. All they're thinking about is winning. They're just thinking about winning, and they want to make sure by 2026 they're ready to compete.
I think we have to, in the region, we just have to work harder and do a better job. This is a competitive business, and one of the things that we probably, I don't know what it's like with Jamaica, but I know we seem to be hesitant to court people to say, well, we'd like you to come play for our country, and that's the kind of the sentiment that you get sometimes coming out a Trinidad, like the U.S. is courting Balogun, and he's
for years. They court Musa for a long time. They court Balogun for a long time.
It's just part of the process, right? And I don't think we are there as yet, but hopefully we get there soon, and so that you can attract some better quality. But let me see the end of this game.
If we make the World Cup, look, if we make the World Cup and you don't, you can say you're Jamaican.
We'll be at the World Cup.
You'll attend. Yeah, you and I may sit in the same stand. We may sit in the same place because I'm going to go. So you can sit beside me and cheer Jamaica.
That's a good one. That's a good one. You can sign up. Let me go watch your last game.
We're going to make sure we attend the World Cup when Jamaica get there. Yeah. We will not have it like last time with Guatemala take up half the stands. That's not happening. Not happening. I'm going to start a campaign to make sure. Neil, we're going to talk about that, Neil. When we get to the World Cup, I'm definitely going this time. I'm not coming up with any excuses. If I'm around, I'm going. And definitely we should make sure we have the contingent there to go to all the games. They're going to send us out to California. We don't care. We're going to go to California. I may have to drive there. Take me 3 days, but I'll probably drive. Huh?
Neo was at the Gold Cup, right?
Yeah, he was. Yeah. Multiple games, actually.
Yeah. I think I remember seeing him at the US game.
Now I'm definitely going to World Cup games. I don't know how many games, but I'm definitely going.
Yeah. All right, man. Could you sign off?
All right, sir. Well, good night, everyone. Thanks for joining us. Appreciate you being here. I'm not sure when I'm Sure Sports is going to have his next program. He says away on assignment and an undisclosed location, somewhere like undercover. But I'm sure he'll be back soon. Thanks for being with us.
I think there's something scheduled for tomorrow morning, if I'm not mistaken.
Pagan? Who's Crank High? That's not what I call myself. I don't know who Crank High is, but Cranky is going. I know who Crank High is, but Cranky is going. I'm definitely going to World Cup. And I'm going to go to World Cup qualifying games in Jamaica too. So I can hold you to that. When Jamaica is playing in Jamaica for some games, I'll be there. I'm going to fly down for a game, huh?
Which game are you going for?
We don't reach there yet. I'm saying World Cup qualifiers, not
Nations League.
Not the little Nation League stuff. No. Okay. I'm going to fly down for World Cup qualifying games. No, I can't say how many, but I'm going to fly down for games. Definitely.
Well, it's not a bad place to be, especially when the weather is cold out here.
Exactly. All right, everyone. Have a good night. Thanks for joining us. Peace out.